My dear friends, welcome to this short video on the teachings of Francis de Sales. I had promised you, my dear friends, last time that I will come up with another short video on the teachings of Francis de Sales. And this time I want to communicate to you knowledge on the spirituality of Francis de Sales on charity. The teachings of Francis de Sales on charity is something fundamental and basic that make the core of the spirituality of Francis de Sales. If the spirituality is the body, the teaching on charity is its blood. What is charity? Charity is the love that you have towards your God. Charity is your love that you have for your God. Now, there can be a misunderstanding. Sometimes we get to the explanation about what is charity in this way. Charity means that it is God's love. We simply get this, you say, it's God's love. This is a way sometimes it is spoken about charity. What is charity? Charity is God's love, or charity is love of God. It doesn't communicate much meaning, it doesn't make much sense, and it doesn't have the power to strike us in a special way about the understanding of Francis de Sales on charity. And therefore, it's very important for us to understand this charity. What is charity? Charity is my love for God that had its origin in this life. It is something which had its origin. It is something which happened to me later. Charity is something that is happening to you later. Therefore, charity had its origin in you. And therefore, it is something which can have its origin, something which can have its growth, something which can have its decline or ruin. So, in the understanding of Francis de Sales, charity is not static. It is something dynamic. Once it has taken birth, once it has taken its origin, it is with a possibility for growth. It is with a possibility for decline too. And therefore, let's understand this about charity. Charity is your love for God, and it is dynamic. It is with a possibility of growth. It is with the possibility of decline too. That said, let us try to understand something about the origin of charity. What is Francis de Sales' understanding about the origin of charity? Charity is not something that can happen to you because you are a human person, because charity does not happen to all human persons. Charity does not take its origin in all human persons. Francis de Sales gives us very wonderful and powerful examples. The great personalities like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they are great personalities, but they are not the personalities in whom charity had taken its origin. They were only inclined towards God. They were only inclined towards charity, but charity's origin had not taken place in them. And therefore, since you are a human person, because I am a human person, it is not necessary that charity should take its origin in you. Therefore, when we say that charity is with a possibility of its origin and growth, you must understand this. And therefore, what is charity? Where lies the origin of charity? Origin of charity lies because you are already inclined towards God when you meditate upon, when you reflect upon the supreme goodness of God. When it strikes your mind how good God is, how wonderful God is, and when your heart sense He is supremely lovable, you understand the inclination that you have in your heart towards God. And from this inclination, you move to a deliberate choice of entering into a love relationship with God, of making Him as the supreme love of your life. If He doesn't become the supreme law of your heart, then your love for God cannot be known as charity. Charity is charity because it is the king of all other loves. It should reign. If it is not reigning above all other loves, it is not charity. And therefore, it is very important for us to understand this origin. You see. Therefore, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, great philosophers, great teachers, but they were only inclined. But the charity's origin had not taken place in them. And therefore, in understanding of Francis, he says, our heart is inclined towards God, but this inclination is not necessary that charity's origin should take place in you. And that is Francis' understanding about the origin of charity. Friends, I shall conclude this video after communicating to you one more dimension about the origin of charity, because I want to make my video short. Now, we already heard about inclination. We already heard about the inclination of great personalities like Plato, Socrates, Aristotle. Plato even said, a philosopher is the lover of God. A philosopher is a lover of God. But still, according to Francis, he says he is only a personality who had an inclination to love God. In him there was no love. Love towards God originated. He only admired God. You know, remember Romans. Francis quotes this letter of St. Paul to Romans. They did not honor God as God, even though they knew everything about God. You know, he uses this quote of St. Paul. Even though they knew everything about through God, through the creation, but still. And therefore, here what we want to discuss is this, that why is that even when there is an inclination towards God, people are failing to enter into a love relationship with God. I am so inclined towards God, but still I cannot enter into a deliberate choice of loving God as I would have loved someone else with a great love. According to Francis, he says that due to original sin, because of our original sins, our understanding is not so blinded. Our understanding is still powerful. Our understanding is not so much affected with the original sin, but our will has been so much affected. And therefore, we lack that power to love God in our will. And therefore, charity is something that will begin in you by God without you. Unless God begins this love for God in you, it doesn't begin. It is something that is happening in you but without you.